Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be taking a look at the next scenario that'll be coming out here early March, Make a New Track. One big thing I've seen was some people talking a little bit about on Reddit, because there's kind of some doom posting on it for when it comes out, but also I've had a lot of people asking me questions since I do talk about it a lot in my streams, as it's the scenario I'm really looking forward to, as there's a lot of good things that'll be coming alongside with it that can make your lives easier in terms of making parents and all that with regards to affinity. But there are some negatives, especially with how long careers are going to take. But and the other part with it is it can help you with kind of informing your decisions when it comes to deciding what to pull on leading up to it, because we are starting to get to that point now on the gotcha banners where all of the big banners kind of that'll be good for making a new track are coming up. We have the rerun of Nice Nature, we have Matikane Fukukataru speed, we'll have NTR, which will drop when it drops. You have fine motion, and as well as a couple other little things here and there. And so we're going to go over, this is going to be more of just a simple look at it. We'll watch, I do have a video here that we're going to be using this to kind of showcase a little bit of it. It's not going to go really far into depth, but I just kind of want to show what it can kind of look like when it comes to doing certain things and training and all that. But with that, we'll just go ahead and get right into it. And so, make a new track, the basic thing is where it's going to shift from what we've done in URA and Unity Cup is this one's going to be, as you've probably already heard, very focused on races. And so as you're doing your races in it, and this is on Game Tour if anyone wants to look at this, if you just switch to the Japanese version, you can do it here. The main goals that your characters have, or your Umas have, currently in Unity Cup and URA are going to be gone. So it's going to be completely open. They can do any race. So, for example, Christmas Ogre Cap, or just normal Ogre Cap, she is forced to currently do the Arima Keenan both times, which means she misses out and she cannot race. I believe it's the Tokyo Daishoden. She can't do that race. You can't get that trophy. With Make a New Track, she can, because those goals are gone, and instead you're going to have this new one where you have to hit specific grade point targets. And this, you get these grade points, as it mentions here, through doing races. And as you're doing the races to get the grade points that meet the goals, you're also going to get shop coins through doing these races. And that is where, like, the big part of Make a New Track is going to come into play, in that you're going to have to buy stuff in the shops. And as someone just mentioned in chat here, yes, one of the negatives too of them dropping their goals also means all of the events are dropping. So Silent Suzuka is a big one, because she's not going to be able to get Runaway. Taiki Shuttle, which has that very, very good secret event to get like head on, a bunch of skill points and stats and all that, that's gone. All those you will not be able to do, as well as it's just you're making their entire career through running all these races. But when it comes to doing the races, you're going to get the grade points for your goal, but also shop coins. And so you're going to be getting 100 shop coins per placing first. That's going to be key for the shop that's going to exist, where there's going to be a ton of different items that you're going to buy. That is going to ultimately be how you really power up your Uma. And as you can see, it kind of breaks down what you're going to get for the races you do. G1s give you 100 grade points, G2s 80, all the way down. Now, from what I've seen on what it mentions the goals, you're going to be racing a lot, so really hitting the goal should not be a problem. Especially since one of the things that'll be coming alongside Make a New Track, and this is why you've probably heard, start stockpiling your clocks. Buy the clocks every single time you have that daily shop open, because you will be able to use the clocks to make sure you get first place in every race. You will be able, just like how I know a lot of people have asked, the ability to use a clock on an optional race, especially when it comes to building parents, you will be able to do that and Make a New Track. The downside is that you're going to be racing a lot, and it will eat your clocks like crazy, especially if you're somebody like me who does a lot of runs and even spends carrots to do runs. And once you run out of clocks, it costs 10 carrots to basically retry a race. So you definitely want to make them last through the entire scenario. And this, just kind of mentioning that too, that is one of the reasons that you will hear, and I'll talk about this when the card drops, which I have to go up top. Speed Fuku. One of the big advantages of Speed Fuku, she has multiple. She has like the ability to give a lot of stat points. through her very gambly event. But one of the things that really is nice about her is she gives you initial 30 stats on every stat. Going to be very, very key in helping you actually win those early races. So she can be a very good clock saver. Because as you already know, you've probably seen when you're doing your races, you just randomly lose a race, whether it's a G3 and a G2, and you're going to be doing a lot of them. All those races in the beginning leading up to like the hopeful stakes and all that, you're going to be doing a lot of those races on that way. And there's a very good shot you can lose them if your stats are not really that strong to get first place like 99% of the time. And so as you can see here at the shop coins, it's also very important you get first just for the, like you get the shop coins and the grade points. Shop coins are pretty significant. And that is, we're going to get down to the item, what they actually do here. But, yeah, you get the shop coins. Just trying to make sure I don't skip anything here on what it's explaining, because I've already kind of touched on it. Yeah, the items give various bonuses, which we're going to look at here in a second. And then there is also going to be limited discounts on the shop randomly and limited items. Those are going to be like the strongest ones, which we'll take a look at here in a second. And that's why you're also going to want to make sure you're always getting the maximum on these in terms of coins, because there's a lot of good stuff in the shop. And yeah, and then you have an inventory, so you can stockpile them. You can have up to 5 of one item, as it mentions here. And yeah, and then yeah, items, some of them last a certain amount of turns, like some of them give training effectiveness. They'll last a certain amount of turns. You cannot reuse another item to re-up it. You just have to wait till it ends to use another one, what it's kind of mentioning here. As well as the ones that give stats, you can only use one time per turn. If you use a lower one and then a higher one, the higher one will overwrite it. So it's not like you can really stockpile the stats through using these, a bunch of them on the same turn. That's just what it's kind of mentioning here. And so these are the items. I'm kind of give a quick breakdown of them. In the shop, you can outright just buy stats. These books give the stats. So you, of course, have the ones on the bottom giving 15 of whatever individual stat is here, as well as the cheaper ones will give at 7. And you can use 1 per turn on stats. Then you have these ones, energy and motivation. So you can give yourself some energy with these little bottles here. You can give big energy, but they're going to have a mood drop while giving them this item. You can give a maximum energy 8, and you can kind of see the costs. Each race is giving you 100 coins. So just kind of take that into account when you see these costs that they have over here. You then have these items like a cupcake and, I don't know, like a banana sundae or something here. Give you 1 mood, give you 2 mood. You can then buy bond with the director. You can buy bond on all your support cards with these. Good conditions. These are some, I'm pretty sure some of these are the limited ones. I think the one everybody's going to love to see. And as you can see, it's got a big cost, so make sure you can get it. Fast Learner is an item that you can get, but you can get Hot Topic, Charming, and Practice Perfect as well. So if you see like this one, this will be one you buy really early if you see it, but you don't buy it if it comes later in. Because part of the RNG of making you track, because yes, it's still RNG, just like Unity Cup has, is the shop. These items, it's going to be RNG on when they show up and how many of them show up and all that. And so the God Run is going to be the one where you're seeing Fast Learner show up and you can get it. Or you see Charming really early and then you see Fast Learner eventually show up. So you have those. You can heal yourself with Bad Conditions, Night Owl, Slacker, I mean all of them here, plus one that heals everything. I have a feeling I'll probably end up having to buy the Skin Outbreak one when you're just mass doing races and they get that Skin Outbreak. So that'll probably be the most important one to me. Like if you get Slacker or Night Owl or something like that, it's like a dead run to me regardless. I wouldn't want to waste points on those, but I could see Skin Outbreak being useful there. But you can buy for any conditions. One way you can level your training facilities is buying the upgrade within the shop as well, which are these ones. Now, it still has the URA scenarios way of leveling them up. If you do 4 trainings, the facility will level up as well. But you're going to be racing a lot, and so they're not going to level up very quickly through training themselves. You're going to level them up through these. So that you have those. Then an item I think a lot of people are going to love. You're going to want to buy this whenever you see it. And you're going to have to very strategically use it. But this whistle, what it means by shuffle support card distribution is that You know, as your friends, or when you're doing friendship training, they're not landing on your stat. Like Kita-san Black doesn't like to land on speed for some reason when you're at the very end of your career. Well, within Make a New Track, what this does is it redistributes them. So it's basically like it randomly generates where they land again. So one of the big things will be after you've done a lot of races and you're going to want to, you're like in the middle of the summer and you want to stockpile a bunch of them, like on Guts, for example, if you do the Guts build and you want to use your training, another item down here, you're going to stockpile all these stats. You can redistribute them to try and get more of them to land on the correct stat to get that really, really big hit, which I'll show it here in a second. And that is where you also have these ones. These are going to be massive, especially during the summer to use. And these are ones that just give you flat training effectiveness. So like these ones right here, training bonus 60% for 2 turns. So just a flat 60% training effectiveness for 2 turns on all of your stuff. And then you have specific stat ones. So you have speed training bonus. It's going to consume more energy, of course. You have that for all of your stats except wit. And then also another one people are going to like. This is an item. If you buy this and use it, guarantees you do not fail your training. So even if you have no energy, if you use this item, you will successfully complete the training. And so you basically, you can probably already see how you stack these. You stack a 60% training bonus here. Whatever stat you have the big hit on, you take it, you use that. If your cards have not landed correctly, or if your support cards have not landed on that stat, you can use this to reshuffle them to try and get a better hit on that one. And then you hit it, and you're just going to get that massive stat dump. And that's why Guts build is so effective, because Guts trains 3 stats, Guts, Speed, and Power. So you can get a lot of stats on a Guts training. You have that, and then you have additional race bonus. Now you already know the decks, you're going to want a lot of race bonus because you're racing a lot. You have these ones that you can use. Now from what I understand on these, you're going to use these at the like very end of the run to get like the biggest bonus to the stats. You can already know, like when you're doing the end of URA or Unity Cup, you're getting all those stats at the very end. It's going to be a similar situation here with these. So that's the items. That's one of the key things. And that's one of the parts that's going to make it take so long. Not only do you have the load times of the races and constantly racing, but all the thinking you're going to have to do, especially early on when you're not used to it, on what items to buy, when to use them, and all that. And so runs can take up to like an hour plus long because of that. I think that's the big thing that you'll see a lot of negativity around, is how long they're taking. But that's the items there. All right, we can kind of showcase it a little bit here, because that's why I wanted to show. I have these videos up. So right here, this is the end of a debut run. And this is just a random video that was done 3 years ago when it came out by this person, Arslan Sky. Now, I don't think they speak English, because none of the comments are English in it, so I don't have the volume on or anything. But I'm just using this one as an example. This is a Guts deck build, which I think will be very, very strong. So as you can see, they finished the race. They finished that. You can see the new goal up here at those grade points. Then when they get done with all this, the first thing they're going to do after the debut is they're going to want to look at the shot. I mean, and this is where it's just random on what you get in here. Now you can see, like you did that first race. You got the 100 coins. And you have the items in here. You're just going to start buying the stuff that you need immediately. Like if you saw the item for Charming, the little mirror, you just buy that. Well, you won't be able to get it. I think it's 150. So you'll do a race as soon as you can and then buy it. But you have the whistle for reshuffle. That's like a must buy. You have the energy item. You have a +7 Guts training book. Looks like they're going to buy that. And that is as simple as that. And then they're using it immediately. Give them some stats. Well, that's how items work. Now, I did mention the stacking for Guts hits. So I do have another part that I kind of saved on this just to kind of showcase a summer part. So as you can see here, they're in the summer. They're doing a Guts deck. They have 2 rainbows on it. You can already see they have a decent hit. So 13, 33, 5, 13, 5, 14. This is where the items can really start ramping up. So they have the Guts training item. They have a +60 training effectiveness item here. They're going to pop all those. They also gave themselves some energy, it looks like. They just popped her off there. Now they go to that Guts. Now they're getting over 70 Guts. They're getting, what, 27 power and 29 speed. And so they just do that big hit. Now you have that. They finish that. Now they're on their next turn. That one training effectiveness item persists for a couple turns, I think. It's like 2 or 3, I believe. And you can see kind of the bonus. They're already getting decent stats here, but if you've seen, they stockpile some more of these other training ones. And so you're going to see they're using this item. Guarantees they don't fail the training. This item gives them more bonus to guts. And they're going to hit it again here. And as you can see, over 50, 20-something, 20-something. And this is, like, this one doesn't even look like a crazy run. I mean, these cards aren't really high training effectiveness themselves. They have 1 rainbow here. So this isn't even looking all that good. Just wait till you see the stats at the end, though. You can see the deck is pretty free-to-play friendly here. When we go to the end, you can kind of see how taking advantage of that, especially if the Guts deck, can work out. UG3 with big stats on a Grass Wonder. It's going to be really strong on Umas that have speed and power bonuses on a Guts deck. And that's what you can kind of be looking at there. That's how the items work. I don't want to, like I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to go too far into depth. I'm just kind of showcasing it and how you can plan around it. Now, one thing people have questions about is we're so used to getting skills off the bubble bursts in Unity Cup and how you can kind of get those random skills you want without having to use support cards for them. You get the skills here in these, as it's called, versus races or rival races. So sometimes a random race will feature a rival whenever at least one race is available. You'll see this red and blue icon with the verses. And yeah, basically you go in here, you do the race that has the rival. If you win it, you'll get 1 random skill hint related to either the distance of the race or the strategy used. Now, one of the key things here is looking at it, when I think about parent making, is strategy used. A lot of times I'll have a parent that's not good in the strategy that I'm building them a parent for. Well, this, from what I can tell and understand, you're going to want to just still do it anyway. You have the clocks to help yourself win. I mean, that's one of the things with the clocks, and why you want to have a lot of them. And if it's not the right distance, even then, it might be, especially on parent runs, a good idea to do it, just to try and get the skill hint off that. When it comes to your aces, this will be situational, but that is how you're going to get your random skills, just random any type skills, kind of like we've already seen with Unity Cup. Then you have the finale, called the Twinkle Star Climax. This is basically just like your URA finals, but it's kind of more like a tournament. Someone kind of compared it to Mario Kart in that sense. In that you're just going to be doing a bunch of races. You'll get points based on what place you get in the races. And I mean, we don't have to go too far into depth on how it works, but you don't have to win every race. You just have to have the most points at the end. You get 10 victory points for a first on a race, 8 for a second, 6 for a third. And you just go, as long as you have a strong Uma, you're going to win the thing outright. And you will get a skill hint for the Radiant Star, which is the unique one. We had the Ignited and Burning skills in Unity. We get Radiant Star here. I don't know if I really like the skill, just in general. It's just after this, in the second half of the race, it's a skill that's in the second half of the race, you get increased speed, acceleration, and stamina recovery. And the default is on the gold, it's 0.25 speed, a 0.3 acceleration, and a 0.035 stamina. It seems like it's just the second half of the race. So you really can't count on it too much for trying to hit the acceleration. I could see it being useful potentially because you have speed, which is useful everywhere except in the acceleration zone. But if you're in the acceleration zone, well, you have 0.3 acceleration off of it. The only thing I would never want to count on it for is a stamina recovery, because if that happens late race, well, your Uma's dead if you need that for your recovery. So I don't know if I really like that skill, but it could be something you might end up taking. There is a white version of it that you will get as well. You get the hints for this one through another system that's going to bring up down here, which is how your ultimate levels up since you don't have the normal events. And that is, there is the Uma of the year, or the horse girl of the year, which you will basically get kind of similar to the URA conditions of having certain bond with the director and all that. And not only do you get your ultimate or unique leveled up, but you also will get hints to the white version of that skill I just explained. And that's pretty much the basics of it. I mean, you have your base training values like we have in all the different cups. Yeah, there's some character-specific events that it mentions are not in Make a New Track. Runaway being one of the biggest ones, because you will not be able to build a Runaway in Make a New Track. If you want to build your Rabbit, though, you can still do it in Unity Cup. But if you want to try and build her as an ace, she's not going to be very strong. And then you have this scenario-specific names. I mean, these are just some of those, basically the titles that you can get that are specific to it. And then that is it on that. And the last thing is the factor you get out of it. So you have the URA Finale, you have the Unity Cup one, URA Finale being speed and stamina, Unity Cup being wits and power. The Climax scenario one gives you stamina and guts. So I still think I would prefer Unity Cups over them. I really like having bonuses to power, since power is the one that's like always a little bit more tricky. Make a New Track, it won't be as tricky to get. But in the future, I think this one could be pretty nice. Stamina is always good to help top you off if you have a lot of these in your parents. But that is the one. It's just stamina and guts there. And that's pretty much it. You can, I think, ignore this. This is, I think, a buff or change that they've gotten on the Japanese version that allows them to get higher. There is no stat cap increases for us in Make a New Track. So it'll still be 1200 across the board. And as I've shown, if you get a good run, which, especially with the Guts build, on a free-to-play, you can get some very high stats. So then it's going to come down more to the skills, per se, than the stats. So this has been referred to, I've heard some people call it the Great Equalizer, because this is where you're going to start seeing even free-to-plays have fairly good stats. It's not going to change them from being jobbers and picking garbage skills still. So Champions meetings will still not be as hard in round 1 and round 2, because people are still going to make bad decisions. But it will probably be a lot more competitive, especially in round 2 and even the finals, because less RNG because of the stats, and then just comes down to the skills. So that's pretty much it. I thought I'd just do a quick overview of it for those kind of trying to figure out their decisions on upcoming support cards. I've already mentioned Fuku Kataru is going to save you a lot of clocks. For most people, I would say this will be your mandatory borrow. You borrow her, and then you build your deck around whatever you're doing, whether it's a Guts build or a different build, depending on your setup. You have like the race bonus build, where you go maximum race bonus, do the maximum amount of races you can make work. Guts build, where I think you'll do a little bit more training. You still do a lot of races, but a little bit more training. And then there's other variations depending on the Champions meeting. And she just saves you clocks. Down here, of course, Fine Motion, still one of the top wit cards. You're almost always going to bring wit cards. Wit cards, always strong. You always want to get high wit, as you're already probably seeing with the Arima Keenan in the current Champions meeting. And she has 10 race bonus, as well as really good training effectiveness. One of the negatives about that one that I just showed is it's not as strong in training effectiveness. If they had Fine Motion here and a nice nature, they'd be even strong. They would have even higher stats than you could see there. And when you think about NTR, because that's the other one between Fuku and NTR, I mean, you don't even really have to worry too much about this, but you need her MLB for race bonus 10%, which is what you really want. You don't even get 5% unless you get her to limit break 3. So very, very expensive banner. But she's an okay card because she gives training effectiveness up to 20 once you have 200,000 fans. Although you have to get to that 200,000 fans. So not really the best, but that's where I kind of mentioned the idea, the other big card on this banner, which you would pretty much be pulling for Make a New Track, would be Admire Vega Guts. As you've seen, this deck did not utilize Admire Vega Guts, but you would replace Sirius Simbly here with her, because she has 15% race bonus. She has power bonus and speed bonus. Very, very useful for your Guts build to have that speed and power bonus. I've heard people say this is basically an SSR in disguise as an SR card. Although, this one is not able to be pitied since it's an SR card. So you could have really, really bad luck on this banner. So while it's the main card everybody's going to want on that banner, you got to get lucky and get it. So that's pretty much it. And then, of course, like for most people, what my advice is going to be is Fine Motion. She's always going to be used. You just borrow Fuku, and then you build your deck around them. Fine Motion. You should have Kita-san Black MLB if you really want to still use her. She's okay. She has 5% race bonus. But you can kind of see what works here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought I'd just make it, well, I want to say make a quick video. It's not exactly one of my quickest, but that's just a quick overview of it and how it works for those planning around it coming up. I would not worry about it too much. I know they're going to be longer races, but we can kind of fully expect there to be some differences for us. We've already got the first anniversary updates early, so we have a high potential to get other things early. The one I'm really hoping we get early that they did not have available for Make a New Track, that'll make our lives a lot easier, will be rerolls. They are giving us the 5 bonus, or the 5 borrow limit increase. If we get reroll, that makes parent making a lot better, because then you can just reroll. Now, you have to spend carrots after, I think, the first one, but you can basically turn those 5 borrows into, I think it's 25. I think you can do 5 rerolls. You can effectively turn it into 10 plus runs. And so even though the run's longer, you will at least get more out of each individual run with rerolls. That's what I'm hoping we're getting. They may push it all the way to evolutions. Who knows? If we get evolutions, that changes things even more. Because certain Umas that you're going to think suck, because like Silent Suzuka won't be able to get access to Runaway there. But if we get evolutions early, something that really wasn't a meta thing, because when she got evolutions, you had a lot of other options for Runaways. But if she got evolutions to like Perfect Concentration, she gets another big acceleration, so she can almost be like a Runaway without being one in Make a New Track if that were to happen. And there's a lot of other changes to Umas, but that's just one notable one. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm really excited for Make a New Track. Hopefully everybody else is. Hopefully I made you excited with kind of talking about it here. But that'll be it for now. And if you like my content, if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.